Stocks recover after an initial sell-off. Key indices now in the green at day's high. Midcaps lead the gains with index up over 1% now. Utilities and energy gains while real estate and financials trade soft today.
Zee Entertainment informed stock exchanges that Sony will enter into negotiations for extending the timeline of their deal. The stock perks up on the news even as the key issues in such deliberations remain unclear.
Bharat Electronics tells CNBC-TV18 that orders for the year should top 25,000 crore rupees, higher than the earlier guidance of 20,000 crore rupees. The stock gains on this revision.
Inox India lists at an over 40% premium to its offer price, while offers open for subscription like Credo brands, Happy Forgings and Azad Engineering notch up strong retail investor demand.
Hello and welcome. You've tuned into Business Lounge. I'm Nisha Poddar. With me as always is Pavitra Parekh. Pavitra, it's a green day today and initially didn't look like that the market is going to go this way. In fact, it picked up momentum pretty well, and at the moment, let's take stock of the markets. Well, Nifty 50 is at around the high point of its trading session, but nowhere near the all-time highs that it had recently touched upon. So yesterday's damage has had some lasting experience, but 21,242 levels when we talk about Nifty 50, and when we talk about the other areas, mid-caps have outperformed, and on the other hand, some of the banking names like Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, IndusInd Bank are the drags, but the big boys like HDFC Bank, Reliance Industries are the ones which are really putting their might behind the momentum of the market today, Pavitra.
Oh, absolutely. And we've seen this trend play out for this entire week, right? Up until now, you were talking about the profit booking that we saw earlier in the trading session. So the mid-cap index has recovered 1,200 points. So that is the kind of, market that this is. Even after that kind of fall, we have come back quite strongly. So like I said, 1,200 points over there. And it's been an across-the-board recovery that we've seen. A lot of the PSUs continue to gain names like Power Grid, Coal India, a lot of the ship defense names, which have already run up a lot, once again doing very well. You also have IT, which, saw a big jump after the initial downtick. So when we started off, it was the worst performing sector, but it's come back in a big way and has recovered a fair deal. Like Nisha mentioned earlier as well, the sectors which are a little bit soft, you have some of the banks, you have real estate as well, which is seeing a bit of a cut come through. And I just want to point out that, this entire primary market action that we are seeing remains extremely solid. We had Inox India list today at an over 40% premium. So that space remains very hot as well. But that said, let's kickstart the show now by talking about some of these individual names which are really moving around. We have Zee Entertainment, which is seeing quite an uptick in trade on the back of fresh developments in the Zee-Sony merger. Mangalam is here with more on this. Mangalam.
Well, the news that has come, Zee had told the exchanges last evening that they received Sony's communication to enter discussions over extension of a deal deadline. To that, Sony has also said that they are required to meet Zee to discuss the possibility of extending the deadline as per the agreement itself, and they look forward to hearing their proposals. Now, technically, this should not be any news, largely because the contract between Zee and Sony included this 1 month of extension over 2 years of a negotiation period in good faith. What hasn't happened is that the deal date itself has not been extended beyond this 2 years, 1 month. For that, we'll have to hear from Sony as well as Zee if there is any fresh clarification. Why is it that the stock is moving in today's trading session? Well, because it was down around 12% in just the last 3 trading sessions. It's come out of F&O ban as well. And, the street was worried that maybe this 1 month extension of discussions, even in good faith, may not materialize. But that it has. It is a small step in the right direction, but a small step nevertheless. The uncertainty still continues. The stock is seeing a bit of interim relief.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Mangalam. Of course, the stock is trying to recoup some of the losses made in the past few sessions. But also remember that 21st December today is a significant day for Zee Entertainment's merger talks with Sony. It was supposed to be the long stop day today, and ahead of that, an extension has been sought by Zee Entertainment, which because of which the market is reacting and the stock price is reacting. So significant day in terms of the deal timeline, which may or may not stand to be extended. Varun Beverages. That has also been making headlines this week. It has been a stellar year for the company as it enters the list of top 50 companies by market capitalization. Now, the company has also informed that it is buying the beverage company in South Africa for 1,320 crore rupees. And to discuss this, we earlier spoke to Ravikant Jaipuria, who's the chairman of Varun Beverages. Listen in to his plans for future outlook for the company.
We expect to grow at a reasonably fast pace there. So this should be, I would say it'll add about 200-250 crores additional to the EBITDA margins to the India business we take, but it'll be funded from our internal accruals actually. So it won't be 1,320 crores will not really make a dent to the overall because the EBITDAs are large enough for our next year EBITDA will more than comfortably cover it. Overall, I think we have always said that we are definitely looking at double-digit growths in India, especially since we acquired the territories which were east, west, and south, which were very lowly penetrated by Pepsi. And that's where we are increasing our go-to-market and that is what is really helping us grow this market and develop it much faster than. And fortunately, this year we'll have a reasonably higher capacity also, because in 22 we ran out of capacity. So we have more than 45% capacity which has been added for the year 24.
All right, very upbeat Varun Beverages over there talking to us about their plans. But with that, we do need to get into a short break. On the other side, there's lots more that we're tracking from the market. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Business Lunch, and let's now focus on the new kid on the block. Cryogenic tanks exporter Inox India listed at a 44% premium to its issue price. So it listed at 950 rupees. The issue price was 660 rupees a piece. It's still holding up with an over 40% kind of gain. So we spoke to the management, Siddharth Jain, the promoter and the non-executive director of the group as well, to really discuss their growth outlook and what their plans are now that the company has hit the street. Listen in.
In the past 3 years, we've grown at a CAGR of 27% and little over 20% for the past 7 years. And, we certainly hope to continue that trend going forward as well. I think we have a very healthy order book of over 1,036 crores and, the three verticals in which we perform, which is industrial gases, LNG, cryoscientific. We are seeing great traction in all three of them from different parts of the world. Inox Air Products is a totally separate entity. It's a 50-50 joint venture of Air Products of the US and ourselves. We are private, of course. We're India's largest industrial gas company. It's growing at a very healthy pace, and we certainly hope to list that at some point. Looking at the love and affection we've received from retail investors all over India, more than 42 lakh of them, we are absolutely humbled with the faith that they reposed on our brand name, our group, and we hope to share those gains with them in the other entities as well.
All right, more on the primary market action. Well, integrated pharma company Innova Captab's 570 crore rupees IPO opens today and will be open for subscription till 26th of December. Now, earlier we spoke to Vinay Kumar Lohariwala, who is the managing director of the company, to discuss how the IPO proceeds were to be used and more on their acquisition of the listed company Sharon Bio. Listen in to the developments.
So we like to have having the 440 crore of the net debt on our books. So that will be like the working capital loan, and other loan will be retired after from the proceeds, and the rest will be used for general corporate purpose. The Sharon Biomedicine formulation facility is UK MHRA approved, and we have a strong hold in market Canada, UK, Europe, and Australia. So it's a completely strategic fit for us. After Sharon Biomedicine, we have the consolidated revenue more than 200 crore in export. So after that consolidation, our 50% revenue will be like the ROW market, and 50% revenue will be in the regulated market.
All right, that is the word coming in from Innova. But with that, let's move on and talk about the insurance sector now. We told you yesterday that life insurers met and, to discuss the IRDAI's paper on increasing surrender value. Now, while most life insurers are aligned with what the regulator is suggesting of better surrender value, let's listen to what Tarun Chugh, MD and CEO of Bajaj Allianz Life, and Mahesh Balasubramaniam, MD of Kotak Life Insurance, had to say on this.
If you'd asked me Thursday morning, I would have said something. Things have changed since then.
That surrender value is that big a deal, is it?
It will, see, we'll have to recalibrate. Everybody will have to recalibrate. We need to understand a lot more. And that will kind of reset the base, if you may.
And technology can't help you there, can it?
Technology can't help you. So that is one. But yes, we've been growing quite well. My statement have always been that whatever the private sector does, we'll grow twice as much. And more than twice as much. And that's what has been happening this year. It's been happening last year and last 3-4 years. I now can't say about next year. Let's see.
This topic is a very, very complicated topic in terms of understanding. The intent is very clear that we need to probably give a better surrender value to the customers. So that is understood and appreciated. But as I said, the implications for life insurance companies is quite deep in terms of the multiple things which need to be studied in terms of the implications it can have, as you rightly said, on persistency. Life insurance contracts are long-term contracts, right? So therefore, the implications on investment, implications on pricing, implication on returns, implications on persistency. So this has implications all round. So it will be too premature for me to say that X is a problem or Y is a solution, right? I think all of us are studying it, and I think the regulator has given us time till January 3rd to come back with our feedback and response, because it's a draft regulation. So I'm sure all of us are going to go back through the Life Insurance Council and place our understanding and our feedback on the entire policy. And then we'll have to pick it up from there and see how it pans out.
All right, so big developments coming in the insurance space. With that, we'll slip into a short breather on Business Lunch. But as we do that, hear out some of the market opinions coming in from Rajat Rajgarhia of Motilal Oswal Finance Services.
ICICI and SBI, right? The two large banks, the two banks who are approaching both the balance sheet and the growth cycle very well. And valuations, if you look at State Bank, would roughly be high single-digit P, and ICICI would be just about 10-12 P, right? They still are at 50% discount to the market with a growth rate which is going to be in line or better than the market over the next 2 years. I think one of the very powerful themes that we have been advocating last 12-18 months is this entire travel and tourism, right? I think we have been writing about this now since the beginning of calendar 23, that there is something very different happening in this country now, right? You look at airlines, you look at hotels, you look at all the ancillary businesses which are related to this, right? I think business is booming, and this is here to stay, right? The outbound travel and within India and the inbound travel from outside India into India is going to make sure that the best brands, the people who are able to deliver good product, are going to gain a lot of market share. I would include to some extent this entire leisure entertainment business also.
Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch. A quick look at the market. Well, it has been stable but slight, profit booking from the highest level. So 86 points gain on Nifty 50 at the moment. Bank Nifty is up about 0.13%, and Midcap is also shaved off some part of gains but still holding above the 1% mark of gains. Top gainer on my radar at the moment is from the PSU basket, Power Grid. BPCL is also doing well in trade, and Axis Bank remains as the top loser. Keep an eye out on the market. And moving on to some national developments and important news of the day. In view of the rising COVID and respiratory illness-related cases in some parts of the country, the Health Minister, in the review meeting with the states as well as the union territories, said that it is important to be on alert and be prepared against the new and emerging strains of COVID-19 virus. A notification from the Health Ministry released late last night noted that 92.8% of the cases are home-related, isolated, indicating that mild illness, that there is no increase in hospitalization rates this time around due to COVID-19, and any increase is due to other medical conditions. So important to note here that there is no directive yet from the government on mandatory tests for travel or any other new directive. Listen in.
जो नया सर्ज है, कह लीजिए बड़ा है, तो हमें हमारी जो तैयारी अभी तक चली हुई थी और हम उससे हटे नहीं थे, उसको भी अब और ताकत में लाना होगा। सरकार की तरफ से सर्वेलेंस को टाइट कर दिया गया है, बढ़ा दिया गया है। माननीय मंत्री जी ने आज राज्यों के मंत्री समूह को रिक्वेस्ट करी है कि सबसे पहले नंबर 1 आप सतर्क रहिए और टेस्टिंग करिए, टेस्टिंग का डेटा प्रोवाइड करिए। जो सीरियस निमोनिया जैसी इलनेस होती है हमारी फैसिलिटीज़ में, ज़िले के अस्पतालों में, मेडिकल कॉलेजेस में हमारे सर्वेलेंस का नॉर्मल हिस्सा है, उसको पूरी तरह से निभाइए।
Okay, that is on the new COVID strain. But let's also move on and bring you some updates from the national capital now. Opposition MPs suspended from the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha took out a protest march this morning from the old Parliament building to Vijay Chowk in central Delhi. Remember, this comes following a bitter row between the BJP and the opposition over the expulsion of 140 opposition MPs from both houses of the Parliament. Meanwhile, the Lok Sabha passed 3 bills that replace the British-era Indian Penal Code and the CRPC. The bills were passed last evening, even as 97 members of the opposition were suspended from the Lok Sabha over just the last 2 days. Additionally, the House also passed the Telecommunications Bill, which will make its way to the Rajya Sabha for further discussions and deliberations.
All right, so that's a political development. But before we wrap this particular edition of Business Lunch, it's the season to be merry for Shah Rukh Khan fans. In fact, Dunki hits the big screen today, and the film is Rajkumar Hirani's first directorial venture in 5 years, remember. Now, the film also stars Tapsi Pannu, Baman Irani and Vicky Kaushal in pivotal roles. SRK's earlier 2 releases, remember this year, Pathaan and Jawan, were massive box office successes. Dunki clashes with Prabhas and Prithviraj starer Salar at the box office. Prabhas is yet to deliver a box office success since the blockbuster Bahubali 2, which released in the year 2017. Now, with that, we are completely out of time on this edition of Business Lunch. Midcap Radar comes up next. Stay tuned for that.